Ang paglalarawan sa iba't ibang mukha ng lahing kayumanggi mula sa iba't ibang panahon at iba't ibang aspekto at perspektibo siya ring pag-iingat sa mga ugat ng ala-alang Filipino. Na lumipas man ang mahabang panahon, ating pasukin ang sagradong dimensyon sa buhay ng isang dakilang artista. Ang mundo ni Pambansang Alagad ng Sining Benedicto Cabrera.
I usually eat around this time. After my Tai Chi.
Saan kayo sir nagta-Tai Chi?
Usually in my studio. I do it with music.
Bunso sa siyam na magkakapatid, isinilang si Benedicto Cabrera sa mag-asawang Demokrito Cabrera at Isabel Reyes. Taong 1942, ika-10 ng Abril.
Lumaki ako, kasama ko yung mga ate ko kasi ako yung bunso out of 9. Pinakamatanda sa amin is lalaki, si Cipriano and then Salvador. Tapos noon, 6 na babae, saka ako. So, lumaki ako kasama ko mga kababaihan.
Sa impluwensya ng kanyang nakatatandang kapatid na si Salvador, na isa ring pintor, nabuksan ang mundo ng sining para sa batang si Bencab.
Yung kapatid ko nga is a painter, nagtatrabaho siya sa Mirror Magazine. Ayun, binibigyan niya ako ng lapis, ganyan. Gustong-gusto kong panoorin siya nagdo-drawing dahil magaling siya mag-drawing. Nagturo rin siya sa akin. Anatomy, mga ganon.
Kapos man sa kagamitan, ay hindi nalimita ang yaman at lawak ng kanyang hiraya.
Bago lapis, hinawakan ko mga uling. Yung uling ginagamit kong drawing sa kalsada. May dumadaan na nagtitinda ng comics ng Pilipino, Hiwaga, maraming comics noon eh. Yun ang inaabangan ko tuwing may maglalako.
Nakamit ni Bencab ang kanyang unang gantimpala sa kanyang unang paligsahan sa pagguhit nang siya'y nasa ika-6 baitang sa Balagtas Elementary School sa Bambang.
Yun ang first competition na poster making on human rights. So, may drawing ako, something about slavery, mga taong umaabuso sa mga tao. Yun ang sinali ko, nanalo ako ng first prize. So, my prize was 100 pesos. That was a lot of money then.
Tahimik man at mahiyain, ay maagang namulat sa paghahanap buhay si Bencab.
Kasi nga mahirap lang kami and to earn. Kasi malaki yung family ng father ko is only a botica boy, gano'n. And my mother is just a housewife. We're always lack yung mga funds. So naisip ko nang magtrabaho, titinda ako ng comics, towel sa mga jeepney, gano'n. Before going to college, I was doing a lot of drawings din na binibenta ko. Elvis Presley, portrait ni Elvis, ni James Dean, ganyan. Binibenta ko ng 10 pesos. Gusto ko lang talaga magkatrabaho to help with the family. Pero yung kapatid ko nga, dinadala ako sa Mabini. Doon ko na-meet yung mga painters in Mabini. And I find it very romantic yung buhay nila na pipinta lang sila, magbebenta, gano'n. Tapos good time na.
Kumuha ng fine art si Benedicto Cabrera sa Universidad ng Pilipinas.
Naging illustrator ako kasi when I enrolled in UP, I wanted to take painting as major. Sabi nung professor, mag-advertising ka na lang dahil baka hindi ka kumita sa painting. So I took advertising. I was under Larry Alcala. For me, magandang background din yun dahil I can get a job right away.
Dito nakilala niya ang ilan sa mahalagang mga tao na malaki ang naging impluwensya sa direksyon na kanyang tatahakin bilang isang artista.
Matagal na kilala ko na si Ben. Nagkasabay kami sa UP. Pareho kami scheduled to graduate noong 1963. I think si Ben lang, hindi lang makakulang lang siya ng ROTC.
I stopped dahil ang mga naiwan ko lang naman na subject yung ROTC because I hate.
Nakasama at naging tagapayo niya ang kanyang profesor na si Jose Hoya. Isinantabi muna ni Benedicto Cabrera ang pag-aaral sa paghihikayat ng kanyang kuya Salvador. Sinubukan niyang makapasok sa United States Information Service.
Yun again, may nag-offer sa akin. Yung brother ko, sabi niya, umalis na yung si Estong Nivera, who's illustrator of the USIS. And I applied. Marami kaming naglaban-laban din. Ako nanalo and that was my first job, proper job. Came naturally lang na ang interest ko is my surroundings. When I was growing up in Yakal, Bangbang, I find it interesting to paint what I see. Gaya ng mga scavengers doon, mga charcoal vendors, yung mga ganon. Tapos marami ding mga barong-barong doon. So yun ang nauna. I was using oil na rin. But wala akong brush noon, so what I use is a flat bamboo stick. So yun ang yun ang style na nilabas ko.
Ben Cab had an older brother who was one of the so-called Mabini artists. So medyo commercial yung trabaho. That early in his career, si Ben, yung early paintings niya, dealt with may abstractions, may mga barong-barong series, mga Manila Bay seascape. And one distinction he had was, and he's very proud of this, one of his artworks was bought by Paul McCartney.
1966, dumaan yung Beatles na doon, si Paul McCartney. Nagustuhan yung isa kong painting at binili. It's a scene from Pampanga, Sexman. It's tatlong bata na naghuhuli ng isda, na may kubo, gano'n. Saka nga ako dahil nagustuhan niya.
And he eventually had that confirmed when he was in London. No? It was actually filed under Paul McCartney's collection.
Kasama ni Cabrera mga kapwa-artista mga kaibigan na makapagtanghal ng eksibisyon sa Art Association of the Philippines Gallery.
But nag-umpisa ako nung kaibigan ko si Pandy Abiado, Mars Galang. Nagtatrabaho ako sa Sunday Times. Tapos sabi nila, let's have a show. They encouraged me to have a show. So, mga trabaho ko nun, maliliit lang. Kasi sanay na ako nun sa desk. So, yun ang in-exhibit ko. That was 1965. And I got a review already. And I sold a lot. Pick po 40 pesos, mga ganun. 3 months show with Abiado and Mars Galang.
At para maitanggi ang sarili sa iba pang mga kaapilyadong pintor, kanyang binuo ang palayaw na Ben Cab.
During that time, I was signing Ben Cabrera. Pero maraming Cabrera artist noon eh. So, to differentiate myself, pinutol ko yung Cabrera, ginawa kong Ben Cab. Naisip ko rin, mas madaling isign sa painting. Kasi yung Benedicto Cabrera, haba.
Likas na mapagpasid sa kanyang kapaligiran. Isang babae ang naging tampok na karakter sa kanyang mga ipipintang mga larawan at magiging sagisag na obra maestra na tatatak sa Filipinong kamalayan.
Yun nga, binasag niya yung pinunit niya yung Maria Clara dress. Naging ganun yung naging parang plastic na basura yung damit. But at the same time, ang effect, it represents yung nangyayari sa society, yung kahirapan. Simple-simple yung image pero yung nire-represent niya malalim.
Well, his story was that he got fascinated by this woman who, was a bag lady and would be moving around. I think the mystery of it, not knowing who she was, where she came from. Actually, with every taong grasa that we see naman, there's always that question of, saan kaya sila nanggaling?
I can say na yung childhood ko masaya naman. Kasi I grew up in Santa Cruz. Paglabas mo, may kalaro ka na. Aside from that, my famous Sabel is right across my window. So hindi niya alam, dinodrawing ko siya, kinukunan ko ng litrato. And that's how I started with Sabel.
Yeah, kaya yung Sabel, naging dance, feature na yan. Has been featured sa theater, gano'n. Apart from being identified with him and identified with the urban parang poverty. So, over-encompassing yung Sabel niya. Talagang, it was a gold mine in a way. Lalo na, even especially with collectors, no? Alam mo, pag Sabel, it's a Ben Cab.
Of course, I'm so deeply honored. I am so deeply grateful. At that time, I was also very nervous. The challenge that was facing me, I had never done theater. And then, parang gagawa ka ng theater first time, ganito pa kalaking scale. Yung what it meant, not only for us, but for the art world. Parang for Ben Cab, who is a national artist. Like, I have to bring to life his muse. And I did practice. I would run on the treadmill reciting the lines. I would walk around the house reciting the lines. Wow, pakialam, ATM machine, nagwi-withdraw ako. Reciting the lines.
The Filipino people in general, maybe as a nation, we've been from one colonial power to the next, but always under rule after rule. And as a Filipino people, that's in search for maybe the truth, maybe oneness, hindi nagkakaisa. And so Sabel is still searching for liwanag, still searching for her child, for home. That's where we are now, perhaps.
To frame Sabel as a kind of a provoker, pinoprovoke tayong mag-isip tungkol sa imbalances dito sa bayan natin. So by giving her dignity as a subject of his paintings, and not once, pero continuing, naging central siya sa internal development ni Ben Cab. It's always a pleasure to see her in a new form, in a new framing.
Taong 1966, kanyang unang solong eksibisyon sa Indigo Gallery sa May Mabini. Unang makikita ng publiko ang mga larawan ng kanyang musa na si Sabel.
Is this Sabel?
No?
Could be anybody.
Kasi, yeah.
Nagpatuloy ang paglago ng karera ni Ben Cab bilang biswal na artista. Ikinasal sa kasintahang manunulat. Nanahan ang mag-asawa sa London.
Kataon na I met my wife, which is British now. I decided to go with her to London to... That was the time when you want to do some adventure. When we were traveling, kami ng ex-wife, we went to India, Nepal. Interested na ako sa bumili ng mga objects, no? Tangkas, and mga bronzes. Para madagdagan yung kita namin, binibenta namin yun sa Chelsea Antique Market to start with. Tapos habang nagbabantay ako doon, nagdo-drawing ako. Next door may gallery. So pinakita ko yung trabaho ko, in-exhibit ako doon. So everything this is in Kings Road.
Nakilala ang kanyang husay at gilas, pati sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo.
First solo abroad, it so happened na yung kapitbahay ni Caroline is a friend of Glenda Jackson. So I proposed my paintings to her and she liked my work. So yun ang first exhibit ko, 1971.
Even his punk series, you could tell na it wasn't done by a Westerner. No? There were always touches that show a certain, I don't know if that's the right word, a certain Orientalism.
Doon ko na-rediscover the Philippine images and I started painting larawan. Pero ang ideya doon is to make a parallel, gaya nun, servant girl, ngayon, OFW, ganun. Parang kinukompare ko yung dalawa. They always ask about what is Philippine painting. Ang nangyari sa akin, parang you search for identity and that's one reason I went back to figuration, yung larawan. And they realized na it's a good subject pala. I mean, in a way na encourage ko rin yung other artists na to do more research on our past.
More conscious doon sa images ng nakalipas, di ba? Parang looking back, ano tayo? And then that's where he started. Kaya yung mga larawan series niya nung araw, talagang galing talaga sa pick up from the old photographs and how he projected those old photographs as painting. So pinilit niyang i-transform yon into to a painting, not just a mere photograph. Madalas yan marami siyang mga ganong trabaho and then doon sa exhibition niya sa Luz, which is basically very successful shows, yung larawan series. Makikita mo na meron trend ng yung time na sinimulan niya yun, yung time din ng Philippinism, Andiyan yung banda na kung saan yung mga iba-ibang artists ay naghahanap ng kanyang sarili. Diba? Kaya, so si Ben Cab, sa visual art, I think it's napakalakas noon sa kanya, yung paghahanap ng mga images na yon sa visual art.
Well, when I had my show at the ICA, Institute of Contemporary Arts, doon din nag-exhibit si David Medalla. That was the time na I introduced Filipiniana. I want them to learn about us instead of us trying to copy.
Napiling manirahan sa lungsod ng Baguio.
Certainly, he's a naturalist more than an environmentalist. No? Mahilig sa halaman. Diyan ako inggit sa kanya na we shared the same fondness for flora. No?
I like to plant trees. So when we have our eco trail, people learn about what kind of tree it is and if it's endangered. Ganyan. You know why it's called passion? The flower, sabi nila, parang something to do with the disciple of Christ, and then this is the ano, I don't know. Yung disciple ng 12 disciples, and then the center is Christ, and something like that. Ito yung almasiga. We have nakalagay yung native and vulnerable. Pinanim namin yan, taas na. That's a big tree, ah.
Dito'y ibinahagi niya ang kanyang sarili at sining sa pagtataguyod ng pangkulturang layunin, pagpapaunlad sa mga sining ng mga kapwa-artista, pagkakawang gawa, at pagpapalago sa diwa ng volunteerismo.
Nabuo ang Tamawan Village sa pamamagitan ni na Abu Ben Cabrera at Chief Signation at sa mga ibang kasama. Ako yung caretaker noon. Ang Tamawan Village ay parang ginawa lang na parang pastime ng mga nina Sir Ben at saka Chief.
Started with the 3 native huts. May Kinakin hut, yung kay Jackson Bryan na Dukligan, and yung Anaban ni Ben Cab. So that's how it started, and then it was purposely, the purpose of putting up this village is not only housing the abandoned huts, but to house the mga Baguio Arts Guild artists na display sa convention center.
In those days, maski na yung membership fee lang ang pinakapera namin. 100 pesos per member. Let's say may 30 members, so may 3,000. Yung 3,000 lang, ang laking nagagawa namin kasi mostly yung volunteerism. That was the great spirit of the early Baguio Arts Guild. Na maski na kaunting pera, malaking volunteerism, we could organize many community activities.
These spontaneous happenings started to happen, and si Ben Cab also had children around our age, so si Jasmine, Mayumi, and Elizar, who were yung mga kababata rin namin, but they were based in London. For example, they would create huge murals, the Baguio Arts Guild, and the thing with the guild was hindi sila inclusive, so kasama kaming mga makukulit na bata, which also probably gave me the notion of practicing art myself. Parang na-encourage yun.
Somewhere in the late 90s or mid-90s, nag-fade out yung guild. Pero because we got so much support, yung parang naging paborito ang Baguio Arts Guild ng NCCA. And maybe we became a model for other arts guilds around the country.
Yun ang din ang iniwan na legacy dito ng si Sir Ben Cab to conduct art workshops sa mga out-of-school youth. Even nga sa jail, nagkaroon din ng art workshop yung mga Tamawan Village artists.
Ang tunay na henyo ni Benedicto Cabrera ay higit pa sa anyo at estilo na natatanging kanya. Higit pa sa tingkad ng buhay ng kanyang mga nilikhang obra at halaga ng mga ito.
His line drawings and his prints. His prints are truly exquisite. They're really great. It's his line. It's not a particular work, but it's a certain buhit and an expressive, whether it's unfinished, it's never over-finished.
Hindi siya magiging ganyan kung hindi siya madiskarte. He has mastered his craft. Yung brush stroke niya, yung mga colors niya, dinaanan na niya lahat yun. Kaya ganun ka-spontaneous yung kanya. Parang walang effort.
Ben Cab has not stopped evolving, as an artist. Even in his own right, as someone who found his métier, the most suitable genre for him, whether it's oil or acrylic painting, although he often dabbles in printmaking as well, and in simple portrait illustrations, his strongest forte, glorifying certain images and symbols that are tied up with either historical or social relevance in terms of the Filipino consciousness and his culture.
Actually, gustong-gusto ko yung series na Lovers. Pangarap kong magkaroon ng Lovers. I was very drawn to it. Maybe because it's more sensual, it's got more passion in it. Oo. But all his works naman, you see the strokes of the brushes, you feel the passion of Tito Ben there.
I think to mag-start siya sa prints, more on photographic yung kanyang approach sa kanyang trabaho. But later on, naging national artist na siya. I think mas naging libre yung kanyang strokes, no? Palagay ko mas kasabay nung panahon yung paghahanap mo ng freedom, pati doon sa style, lumabas din yung kay Ben Cab. Mas libre yung kanyang hagod, hanggang itong huli talagang halos gestural na yung kanyang painting. Siguro dahil sa exposure na rin niya sa oriental art na halos abstract yung form. But then hindi naman totally nawala yung images kay yung representational images kay Ben.
Pero yung kay Ben, yung distinctive is maraming space around. And then you see a central figure na either etched or sketched na makikita mo yung detalye ng pagka-Pilipino ng muka. And then dadagdagan na niya ng mga whatever may narrative na around that person. Right? Hindi overloaded yung mga paintings niya, pero malakas agad ang paghatak sa iyo.
Ang bawat hagod, linya, kulay at hubog ng mga makabuluhan at makahulugang mga obrang kanyang binuo sa paglipas ng maraming panahon ay bahagi lamang ng mas mahalagang obra kanyang tunay na nilikha, ang kanyang buhay.
Para maging successful yung paghahanap natin ng identity, kasama yung kwento natin, 'di ba? Hindi yung kwento ng iba. Hindi yung kwento mismo nating Pilipino. Na katulad ni Ben, yun ang kanyang kinuwento.
He wasn't a national artist then. He was just a regular Baguio folk, which was very inspiring for the young guys. He was someone to look up to. Charming, very charming man.
Hindi ka mahihirapan makipagkaibigan sa kanya. Ikaw ang mahihiya. Dahil masyadong mapagkumbaba. Hindi naman siya snabero o kung ano. Hindi madamot. Kasi ang tao, kung sa ugali, hindi madamot. Ganun din doon sa nalalaman sa sining.
Before na we have the Tamawan, he was already sending scholars ng mga Kalinga. Helpers niya are from Kalinga and from Ifugao. She was been supporting the Cordilleran people.
So this is one of the largest Ifugao hut from Kiangan. It's an old piece din. It's called Padaw. I think it's Mulabe. And it's parang lang, for territorial lang.
Pati mga yung rice terraces, yung restoration. Now, we've been doing it since 98. Now, we have restored almost 8-10 hectares already in Banawe.
Pagtangkilik niya sa mga tradisyon at kultura dito sa Cordillera, dahil sa kanya na-preserve yung iba't mga karamihan, crafts at saka antique collections dito sa Cordillera. Pagganap niyang as tatay ng visual dito sa Baguio or sa Cordillera.
I think mas importante yung influence niya sa mga next generation. Tinitingnan ko si Ben, when he moved here to Baguio, marami siyang na-influenza ng mga young artists.
The best thing for me was when Tito Ben visited the rehearsal, the tech rehearsal. And then he was so happy. He even gave me his Sabel Swatch watch that he was wearing that day. He took it off his wrist and gave it to me. And so, on my way to every Sabel show, I would wear the watch as a good luck thing. I don't know if he knows this. It was really so special for me, the whole experience, and I loved being Sabel.
I guess this is it. Having a museum, sharing it with people, and it will be my legacy because even if I'm gone, I created a nice atmosphere here.
Mga kababayan, bigyang pugay po natin ang mga bagong hirang ng mga pambansang alagad ng sining! Para sa larangan ng sining visual, si Ginoong Benedicto Cabrera!
Mula sa kanyang pinagmulan at sinimulan, sa kanyang mga pinanggalingan at sinundan, patungo sa darating pang mga taon at mga bagong paglalakbay na sisimulan. Siya'y higit pa sa hiwaga, hiraya at halaga ng kanyang sining. Isang Filipinong mas dakila pa sa kanyang pangalan.
Ang kwento naman talaga is art and nature eh. So, the mga guests, that's what I offer. And marami nagpapasalamat na thanking me for putting up something like this.
Benedicto Cabrera, Pambansang Alagad ng Sining. Sagisag Kultura ng Pilipinas.
Ako ay Pilipino, lahing matapang, lahing matalino, nalakbay ko ng mundo. Walang unos o bagyo sa aking gugupo, lahi ng matatag. Ako ay Pilipino. Ako ay Pilipino. Ako'y makadiyos. Ako ay Pilipino. Ako'y makatao, saan man makarating, sino mang makapiling. Aangat ang galing habang buhay, Filipino. Filipino.
Itong ipagsandaang mga isla, magkakahiwalay ngunit nagkakaisa. Tahanan ng aming lahi, mga pook na aming ninimiti.
Puno ng kasaysayan, puno ng hiwaga, sa mga lugar na ito nakatanim ang ugat ng pagka-Pilipino. Ako ay Pilipino. Ako'y makadiyos. Ako ay Filipino. Ako'y makatao, saan man makarating, sino mang makapiling. Aangat ang galing habang buhay, Filipino. Filipino. Kami ang lahing kayo manggi, mula sa bughaw na langit at dagat. Mula sa pulang animoy dugo, hinalo sa dilaw na araw at bituin. Yan ang kulay ng katatagan, yan ang kulay ng kagitingan, buong tapang na sumisigaw. Yan ang